During this tutorial, we're going to be focusing on the importance of different presser feet for the sewing machine, as well as learning how to insert a zip into fabric. Your sewing machine probably came with different feet. They each have a different purpose and are designed to help you sew different things. Initially, you can get away with using the standard foot for most sewing needs. This is called the universal foot, or sometimes known as the zigzag foot, as you're able to sew straight and zigzag stitches. For our practice run, you'll need a zip. This doesn't have to be a new one, it could be an old one or reused from a piece of clothing. You'll need 2 pieces of fabric the same length as the whole zip. I'm using pattern fabric just so that you can easily see when I'm placing the fabric the right or the wrong way round. I'm laying out the fabric and zip on the table to see how it will all piece together. I'm choosing one piece of the fabric, in this case the bottom, and turning it over so the inner edge is facing the zip with the right side, i.e. the pattern side of the fabric, touching the zip. I am now going to pin the zip and fabric together. If you feel more comfortable, you could sew this together by hand using a tacking stitch if you'd prefer not to have to deal with taking out the pins as you go on the sewing machine. We are now going to change the foot to a zipper foot, which personally I think is the second most used foot, and we'll be using this foot when practicing how to insert a zip today. You may need to check your manual to see exactly how to do this. When using a zipper foot, you will need to make sure your needle is in the correct position. To change this on my machine, I use the top inner dial to move it from one side to the other of the foot. If I was to forget to do this, when sewing, the needle would come straight down and hit the metal foot and would definitely either bend or snap the needle. Snapping the needle could be potentially dangerous, as if it hit you in the eye, it could cause great damage. Just remember, if your fabric is on the left-hand side of the sewing machine, your needle needs to be on the left-hand side of the foot as well. When you start and stop the stitch line, it's really important that it doesn't come undone and the stitch line is held securely. I'm just going to go backwards and forwards a couple of stitches either way just to secure the starting point of my stitch line. It is important to know that I've already moved the slider part of the zip halfway down, as this is too bulky to go under the needle and foot. I am sewing very close to the edge, so it is important to go steady and as slowly as you need. I'm using the opposite edge of the zipper foot as my guide and lining this up parallel to the edge of the fabric. Now I've come to the slider, I need to stop with the needle down to hold my place and gently move the slider past the needle to the side that's already been sewn. With this moved out of the way, I can now continue sewing the length of the zip. Don't forget to secure the end of the stitch line by going backwards and forwards at the end of the stitch row. Now it's time for the other side. We will do exactly the same. With the inner edge of the fabric, with the pattern side facing the zip, pin and hold the zip in place. Start at the same end of the zip, as this helps keep it aligned and laying flat. And don't forget to move the slider part of the zip halfway down. We will be sewing on the other side of the zipper foot, in my case with the fabric on the right hand side. Therefore, I will need to move the needle also to the right hand side. Follow exactly the same process as you've already done on the other side. The zip has now been inserted and we're going to sew a second row of stitches, what's known as a top stitch, to look professional and help the zip lay flat. Roll the fabric with your fingers to decrease the amount of zip that's exposed. This helps it look a little neater. And then pin in place. When completing the top stitch, we will still need to use the zipper foot, as the universal foot would not sew properly over the top of the zip. The zipper foot, in essence, is like using half a standard foot. The zipper foot can rest on the fabric without it having to lay and get stuck on top of the zip. The top stitch will be sewn nice and close to the inner edge next to the zip. The slider part of the foot may still get caught, so you may still need to move it halfway down and then move it out of the way again when sewing.